Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Xner's Fireside Chats. I'm joined here with Clasia, the one and only here, up and comer in North America, and yeah, I'm really excited to have you. I think we've done an interview once before where we recorded it. It was like 10 minutes long. It was when you were still on Secret Club. I tried to get it with Wolfie. I think Wolfie was in Sweden or something, so you were like, "Yeah, I can do an
Yeah,
interview," and I
I
uh, I
think
messed up the footage.
I think I recall that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the last DM that I had with you, so I was like, wait, when did I do an interview? And I realized I never released it. But man, how you doing? Good to have you back on here again, and hopefully this time we'll nail it.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Hopefully it won't get lost, the footage.
Yeah, I made sure this time. Yeah, I double checked everything. We're all good.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
it's good to have you. I was
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I was really excited to get to talk to you because again, uh, our like paths. You played advanced. You played advanced like my first season of casting, and then you made it to ECL the next season. So that was kind of very same trajectory for us. And so I mean, just talking about your experience in ECL as a player. I mean, what was it like getting your first games and as a player, just getting your toes wet with some of the best that NA has.
Well, my first games were really, really good compared to what I had in the previous. Like it was less structured CS, but it was more puggied on the fly style CS because I played with like Wrath. At the time, I played with a Jitter and Wreck, as I'm playing with them now again. And at the beginning, it was Wolfie, the one on Take Flight right now, and then we switched him for the other Wolfie
Yeah,
like
yeah,
halfway through the season. And that was like the best I've ever done up to that point in CS, and it was really just fun to see. But I feel like it could have gone more if I just obviously there was other factors that contributed as well. But to me, for me only, it was just kind of my attitude and how I controlled myself to a certain extent because that was like 2.5 years ago, if I
yeah,
recall.
yeah,
That was so long ago.
yeah, yeah. It was. That's what
Now
I
that I'm
did.
thinking about it. But it was a good start to get into it
Yeah, I mean,
because
oh,
I
go
mean,
ahead, go ahead.
sorry.
No,
I was
no,
just saying since I was so like young, it was good to experience that early.
yeah, and I mean, playing with that less structured like variety of teams, there is like the thing around, or I guess like rumors. I'm sure that you'll agree with that. I've seen interviews and stuff where you talk about it with the attitude and stuff like that. Do you think that sort of helps your attitude a little bit, being less structured? Just having a little bit more of a loose play style, or at least I guess playing with those kind of players.
It's kind of a double-edged sword because I personally play best when I'm under a structure and I'm allowed to do what I'm allowed to do. Like I played best when I was playing with like Carpe Diem, and that was kind of a lot of structure to the most I've ever experienced. And then this is like bare bone structure. We're trying our best, and it's very loose because like I was trying to call for like a while, and just I always play worse with it. But for these players that I'm playing with, like Rec and Jitter and maybe Darty Montana as well, it's like I feel like they play better in puggier styles because that's just the way they play, and I feel like Rec strives in it and
Yeah,
thrives in it because Rec's just a cheater.
he's so good. I had to play him in Open, I think, like season 38, and I think he was one of the best players I've ever faced against. Like it was just like an open match or whatever, so it wasn't like anything
Yeah,
important. But like I don't know, I've never been just shit on so hard by a individual.
yeah, his aim's insane.
But ooh, I lost you there for a second. There you are.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I mean, just moving on a little bit, I do want to talk a little bit about your time in Carpe Diem because obviously Secret Club didn't last too long, if I'm not mistaken, and you kind of transitioned quickly on into like different projects and again like trying to find more of that structure. Um, there you
hmm.
are.
Is it my camera or is it?
It's my I think it's me, but I
Oh, okay.
we should be good now. But
That's
I
it.
mean, you kind of played a little bit with Secret Club, but then you also I think left at the end of the season, something along those lines. But then you ended up playing with the Carpe Diem roster, I believe, in season 37 or something like that. And
Hmm.
like talk to me about your introduction with those guys. Dealing with the new form and trying to bring in your style with their long-standing core, because they've been together for a long time, right? You're the newcomer in this roster. What was that like?
At the beginning it was really hard for me. Like I feel like I fit in when we were playing worse teams better. When we played actual better teams, like at the time I think it was like High Coast or Party Astronauts, I forget where they were at the
Yeah,
time. Every time we played them we always struggled, and it didn't matter if I did good or bad. I always struggled as well. And it kind of took a while for us to get like our feeling into it, and the way they played, it kind of meshed the way I played as well, because I wanted to call more, not like at the time I wanted to like implement a more puggier defaulty style, not as slow paced and let the rounds play out compared to what they wanted to, which is slower and let the rounds play out, and like kind of the RPG style
yeah,
where they just kind of bore you to death. And I feel like implementing my way of playing the game at the beginning kind of helped us be less predictable on what we're going to do, even though if it's good or bad, because sometimes it helped when we were needing a round. We just did some stupid shit, maybe together or like solo, any of us, and it kind of worked because our aim was really good.
yeah. I mean, playing with like a lot of those like core members, you play with those guys, you play with nouns. I mean, what was the difference in experience between those two? Is it more the like difference in structure for those
Yeah,
two teams? Would you say there's like a big difference there?
yeah, it's a lot different in structure and the way they like approach the game per se. Because when you're playing with nouns, it's like, well, when I was it was like Choco Check at the time, it was me, Carson, CJ, George, and Exotic when I first joined. I'm pretty sure, and that was like the best iteration of that. I feel like, in my opinion, like in my when I played with them, sorry,
Yeah,
and it kind of allowed us to play more puggy and defaulty as well, like the same thing as RPG. But any of us could be slotted literally anywhere, and we could play any role at a certain time. I was more of a baiter at the time, and even I'll admit it, and they'll definitely admit it
yeah,
or say it. So, and that just allowed us to like upset many different teams. Like when we played, like, I think we upset like Pain when they had safe in the one season in like playoffs, and we did
yeah,
really well. But then going back to RBG, it was like we had more. It allowed me to like thrive more because I know my role and place of when I'm supposed to do stuff and how I can do stuff, and I can literally do any play on either teams. But on RBG, it made me kind of feel better because I can make a play and we have a backbone of like a strat or a structure to do something off of it if I die or mess up.
yeah. I mean, so usually you are like one of the better, or if not best, riflers on your rosters that you play on. So was there still like setup for you, or were you able to ask for that on both rosters? Because I feel like on nouns with all the names, right? George has proven to be very very good on the rifles. If it was Zodic at the time, I'm sure that he was asking for a lot. He probably didn't need a lot, but um, was there a big difference in like the resources that you were able to get because of your like mechanics?
When I was RBG, it was kind of any resource that I wanted was given to me, like regarding players that like I needed into if I people wanted around me in a certain like spot in the map. Any util that I wanted, any timing that I wanted to take it, I kind of took it.
Yeah,
While comparing when I played with nouns, or I'll just say Choco Check in my because that's what it was.
yeah,
It was I kind of had to take a back foot because I realized that like at the time Exotic, like when I was playing with him, he was really fucking good. And then we also have like, depending on which we played with, it was either Carson or CJ.
yeah,
But then it was me, Jazz, and George, and we're all very capable of doing anything. So I had to kind of take a back foot and like kind of be support and not just do my same role that I did on RBG. And I felt like that kind of made me become better and see a different side of the game that I wasn't able to see before. And it kind of like opened my eyes to doing more roles and doing more just different things that I wasn't able or allowed to do before on RBG.
yeah. I mean that's very valuable there. So there were still like learning experiences out of that project, even though
Yeah.
maybe things didn't shape up the way that you had hoped for there. So that's pretty cool. Um, so now transitioning a little bit more into like the Evil Geniuses days, or I guess back into the Carpe Diem. There's still that back and forth that you guys had, but talking a little bit about your experience in EG. You did have some like new faces, more veteran players. What was it like getting to play with some of the veterans and more experienced players there on EG there?
I didn't really play with like the more veteran players. I just played with the same people
Yeah.
that I played with.
Oh yeah, you were just part of the like the picked up
Yeah,
roster, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
yeah, okay. I mean, was there a big difference then in structure, like even like the staff that you had worked with there, right? Because you you still were working with some of the staff. I think Valence was probably helping out in some sense.
Yeah,
You had the 15-man core, so you're probably getting a chance because I mean, one thing that I don't think have really played with much is like the like EG White team or like the High Coast guys or Whalers people like that whole
yeah.
core that's went through all those different rosters. So I mean, what was it like getting to at least like get more accustomed with those players?
It was nice getting to know some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've known like Viz for a really long time, and it was nice to actually meet him in real life and getting to talk to him and then like chill and just
Yeah,
I don't know talk like getting to know him. Same thing with like Ben Lee is like one of the nicest and chillest people ever.
yeah,
And same with Pone. Like you can't ever not be like happy around either of them. So I really enjoyed talking to them at least. And then DJ, I didn't really have a lot of like t talks and with him, so I
yeah,
have
yeah,
nothing bad to say about him.
yeah. They were cool. I've met them a
And then
couple
the
of
rest,
times at Frag.
and then Valens was a really nice guy to talk to. You
Yeah,
always gain something when you're talking to him.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, like in terms of like joining that org and finally getting I guess more structure, right? Because I would say like Evil Geniuses was your chance probably the best to really plant your feet and get opportunities to both get salaried, I'd imagine, and like just practice and like I don't know, you get those resources that
Yeah.
teams need. So I mean, getting that experience, how valuable was that to you all? Did you feel like it was leading to a lot of improvement? Did you feel like maybe not getting as many officials as you would hope for, and like missing out on some of the opportunities that you would, like RMRs and stuff like that? Did you feel like that was a big deal, like those details?
I feel like for us, the RMR was a big deal because that was one thing we were kind of practicing for. But then when we kind of leaned toward signing, like hearing when they were talking to us, some of us like were leaning to not sign with them for a little bit just because we couldn't play these certain qualifiers, RMRs, and other things that were eventually like didn't g- that fell through, and we just kind of felt like for a little bit that it would be better to stay orgless because even though it's EG, it's we couldn't play the things that we wanted to play that would matter to us, like the RMR.
Right.
And I felt like at the time, if we kept up the current form, we could easily make the RMR. And
Yeah.
then for like the EG resources side, I didn't really experience it a lot because when I was there, it was kind of more focusing on playing, and then we were scrimming sometimes. Then other stuff happened, so we couldn't really play the full time when we were there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a bit surprising there, but like I
Yeah.
said, um, shoot. So you didn't get to play the RMR, right? At the time, I just
No.
don't really know what other things they would have been having you all do. Because when I was looking at the whole structure of EG, it was at the time like Academy, the We Play thing was getting big. I know that there's like some age requirement that I'm not really sure if it's like 20 or
I think it's
younger.
if you can't be 22 or older. I think
Oh,
that's what it
okay.
is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
older
you can
than I
only have
thought.
one. You can only have one person that's. I think it's 21 or 22. I'm
Right.
pretty sure it's 21 though. And at the time we were fine.
Yeah, so my impression was that you all would be able to participate in that, and I think We Play probably, got slowed down by the stuff in Ukraine, right? So,
Yeah.
um, that maybe wasn't as much of an option, but still, they have the We Play League going on, and you all weren't a part of that. Obviously, EG White couldn't be a part of that
No.
because of the age requirement, right? And so at the time, like for you all, I know you all had ECL still. Like that was your pretty much one thing, but obviously there's no move up for ECL. You can't go to Pro League because of the EG being partner team. So when they were talking to you, what exactly was given for you all to play? What was your expectations?
Like qualifiers and stuff,
Okay.
or like other things. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like if you all were to get a chance, right, after all the discussions, after all the negotiations, did they like lay out what you all would be doing as a team compared to like EG White and compared to the EG main team?
Okay. Yeah, it kind of was like I guess schedule. I'm pretty sure of
Okay.
like tournaments that we played and qualifiers that we played in, and then they would play some other ones, and we would play like little like most of we would play less because we have ECL, and like
Right.
I think at the time we were gonna play we play, but I don't know. Obviously, it didn't work out because it's not a thing anymore. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And if I recall, that's basically it. And then there wasn't a conference, so no.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it was just ECL, and like we would change off tournaments with the other team.
And so was that like a tough decision for you all as a orgless roster to make that like jump into EG, like knowing that you would get less opportunities but
Yeah,
more structure?
because
Um,
I think most of us wanted to like, obviously we wanted to sign just
yeah.
to join them, but like we literally, if I recall correctly, we had like 2 or 3 talks of just talking what if we want to do this because the amount of games we could play, the amount of shit we could qualify for was just reduced by like 50
And
to
yeah.
75%, and it's just not ruining our chances, but like it's kind of screwing up our team's like opportunity to make the major and make these like other qualifiers. Obviously, yeah, we could like join the main team, but that's only for individual players and not for all of us. And
Yeah.
that's like kind of obviously we did sign to them, but we were thinking about that for a long time. I know I definitely was.
Right. I mean, what was the big like factor that made you all sign? Was it the like salaries and stuff like that? Was because that's
Yeah.
understandable. I would definitely understand, right? Because
Yeah,
that's everyone
it was
needs to make
mainly
money.
that. It
Yeah.
was mainly that and the opportunity, like, for some of us get moved up at the time.
Yeah. I mean, what was the process in like that negotiation? Was there any sort of like talks about the potential moves ups? Because obviously EG was in a very rough spot there. So like, what is the process? I know Wiz Hex have gone through it now, where they've gotten chances to play on the main roster. So for you, like obviously if you were able to stick around as one of the again up and coming riflers, what would have been the process for you in trying to make that jump up? Is there like a certain like bars that you needed to make, or was it just necessity roles, stuff like that?
I think it was, like you said, necessity and roles, but more of like just like what they see in the future of that player.
Hmm.
Like, because I think the reason they're playing with Hex and Wiz, because their futures are more brighter than the others per
Yeah,
se, is because they're just better.
yeah,
It's like you can't. It's the you have to put it like that. They're just better than the other players, and so they get a better shot and more opportunities to do these things because their potentials is greater.
hmm,
And if you have the potential, like even if you're not putting up the best stats, it's proven in European Counter Strike. These 1.05 rated players just moved up to better teams because they just play good Counter Strike.
yeah,
So it's more of just if you are good at if you just good and if you're just good at the game, and it's like they see it with the eye test. It's not
yeah,
really like you have to pass like a certain standard. And I think
yeah, for sure.
I
Um,
feel like sorry,
oh no, you go ahead, go ahead.
I feel like eventually I would have been moved up if I didn't get cut. But
Right. I mean, that was kind of the impression that I would have been under whenever you
yeah,
got signed initially, right? Like again, I feel like you're very good under pressure. You have that opportunity to get a chance in Europe. Then there's a lot of potential.
mm,
But talking a little bit more about the EG side of things, right? Because they've been kind of under hot water recently. The management, a lot of people have been discussing it, and even outside of just like the tweets alone, it's like the results as well haven't all been there, and there's been some problems in that sense. So what was your experience underneath that? If you don't mind me asking, like what was it like playing underneath, that sort of environment for the time that you did?
I feel like with the people I interacted with, it was like perfect. Like the person I interacted with the most that was under like the higher management was Valens, obviously,
Hmm.
and I have like nothing bad to say about him ever.
Yeah.
So I don't really like I see where it's coming from like when you see everything from an outsider's point of view, but like I don't really see how it's bad from what I've experienced with it, like because obviously I wasn't there. I don't have the biggest sample size of how bad it can be, but I don't think it's like I don't know how good it is compared to other orgs.
Right.
So this is like my only experience with it. So I think it's like they're doing their best to a
Right.
certain point, and maybe they're just like mess up. But I feel like with what they're trying to like help in North America, I feel like they're doing a decent job. Like they could do a better job from what I understand, but it's also like not fully their fault. It's just
Hmm.
the opportunities like they were given and people they signed and how it worked out. It just depends on like the people if they work out well.
Yeah. I mean,
So
from an insider's perspective, what do you think could be done there? Because again, the results haven't really been there. Obviously, like I was very excited when Wiz and Hex got the move ups. Right, they've been players that I've been watching casting since I started casting. They were still in
yeah,
advanced playing for forever. So they're players I'm really glad that got a chance to play in like the tier 1 realm. But again, results don't really follow suit. So what do you think like could be done in their camp to like try and improve on that, or just like like you said, just improve on what they're doing for NA in particular?
I feel like there needs to be a like I honestly like don't really know because, but I feel like it's not really their fault. Like Wiz or Hexadol, like I
Right.
know they're 100% trying, but I don't know like what they like. Obviously, there is an issue. We all know there is
Hmm.
one, but you can't really put a pinpoint. You can't pinpoint it without like blaming a person. And if I'm not really gonna blame anyone. It's just more of like collectively the team's fault. Like
Yeah.
they're just not doing enough. Maybe I don't know. I feel like they're obviously most team like 90% of teams that are getting paid at like as a pro contract are doing what they should do, if not more, to prepare for these games and get better and improve. It's just nothing's clicking, so like you have to make a roster change eventually.
Yeah.
And maybe they're just like pushing it out and maybe hoping for the best. But either a roster change or like you can't really change your IGL when it's like someone like Nealon when he's brought into IGL. I don't really think he's the problem because he's played with rosters that are I don't know like he's brought up rosters that like were better or worse per se
Yeah.
in CIS scene to a good enough level in CIS like tier 2 CIS, which is like probably better than most NA teams. So I don't really think he's the issue. I feel like it has to do with maybe some players don't fit well in the roles that they're assigned into.
Yeah. Um, so I mean, again, thank you for talking about that because I know, like, again, those are ex teammates, and you don't want to,
Yeah, I'm not
right?
like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
no,
not
I
like
appreciate it.
blaming them, but
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, it's valuable, and the EG thing is a very hot topic right now. No one really wants to. I guess either people really want to like talk about it or not. But my last question on this topic here is just, again, there's one tweet in particular there that really caught my eye. It was like the one that everyone copy pastas, and I don't really want to talk about like the tweet in particular, but I do want to talk about like certain pressures that get applied on players from like staff. I've heard other like players talk about it with like just people that aren't very good at Twitter or like will talk too much on Twitter, putting extra pressure on their matches. Do you think that's like a big factor there? Because it does seem like in a certain sense like it was there was a good result, but I feel like everyone's attention turned on EG when they're this young, like when Hex and Wiz, or I guess Wiz in particular, is this new to the roster. I think that does have a certain effect on them.
for sure it definitely does. I don't know for Wiz 'cause it's like I don't know for Wiz for sure because he's like very calm and collected every time you talk to him,
Yeah.
but internally you just don't know what he's feeling.
Hmm.
Like I wished I was like him in the game. I would be the best player. I would be the best player alive
Yeah.
if I was like him in the game.
Yeah.
My mentality and mindset. But then Hext for sure. I've told him this before, and I've like said like I think you need to stop putting I played so bad or something, or I need to do better after you tweet or something because it kind of rubs people the wrong way that aren't maybe spectating or watching the games per se.
Yeah.
Like it rubbed me the wrong way if like I if my teammate was saying, "Oh, wouldn't rub me the wrong way if he said he played so bad," because like maybe he just he acknowledges it, but like you just it kind of shows like a confidence issue kind of to me
Yeah.
because I would never like tweet it if I played really bad. Only if I got like super carried,
Yeah.
I would just say thanks for
Thanks for the
carry.
carry. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the better way to put it. But
But I feel like trash talking is fine as long as it's banter, but like it's like the way he was doing it to himself, like.
hmm
I know he does it like he did on LAN when we played, but it's different when you're playing people you know. Like when we always played LANs, it was like he was just yell at like people like Junior or something. That's the prime example I can remember. But like you're playing against tier one European pros that have a bunch of fanboys that if you say one thing wrong, you're gonna get scolded on in every comment that you fucking tweet.
yeah.
Because even if you beat them or lose versus them, they will still scold you or DM you. And I feel like he will like think about that stuff before because he definitely is a little bit like what's the word? He just reads into the media and like lets it affect him.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Right. Yeah, no, that's good. I definitely agree with you on that point, right? The confidence. Whenever I see a player tweet something along those lines, I kind of know what headspace they're in, like immediately, right?
Yeah.
It's like I lost us that game. It's definitely a confidence thing for sure. So that's good insight.
I would just tweet, go unlucky, go next
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
exactly, right? Move on there. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit more about the modern Clasia, no longer in the EG era, but you guys made it to the RMR with with a mix, and this was I guess we'll maybe dive a little bit back because this was what I was saying here is that EG did take a lot of the best players out of the scene or out of the RMR, I guess, not out of the scene, right? Out of the
Hmm.
RMR, and it's showing definitely in some of these like RMR qualifiers, right? When you don't see party astronauts in the mix there, who would have probably been a lock in. You don't see like any sort of like Sheikh Zula mix or team or anything like that in the playing because now he's on the coaching staff. Junior's not in the RMR contention either, so you're missing so many different classic NA players in these RMRs. But there's a silver lining there. You were able to qualify to it, so. And you qualified to it with a mixed roster. Coming into this one, you mentioned it to me. You weren't really sure if you were going to make it all the way through. I'm sure you looked at the competition and was like, "This is possible," but
Yeah.
definitely required like a lot of good performances out of you all. So now that you all have made it, I mean, what are your plans? For both the RMR, what are you guys setting up? And then what are things looking like before that? I mean, how did you guys prepare for this, or even find your team?
Prepare for the RMR. That's
Yeah,
what you're asking. Oh well, to find the team, it was like let me confirm it. Oh, I can't remember, but like it was like a Steam message. Walker sent me like a bunch of Steam messages the day before,
yeah,
like trying to convince me to play. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't really want to play. Is it worth it? And he goes, bro, trust me. We have a really fucking high chance. Sent me like 2 or 3 paragraphs. I'm like, and he goes, bro, just sleep on. I'm like, okay. The next, or like, I forget if it was like the next day or like later that night. I just said, sure. I said, like, quote unquote, like, sure, fuck it. What's the worst that could happen?
yeah.
Because he already asked Jitter, Rec, and then Darty. And I was like the last one, and the rest of them go, I'll only play if Tony plays. And then I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, screw it. It's like
Why
we
not?
we probably have a high chance, and even if we don't, I'm not like roster restricted or anything.
Yeah.
Because at that time, like to be honest, I was like genuinely about to like not play anymore, like stop,
Mhm.
because it was kind of like no team will ever like pick me up and in my mind, and I just don't see a point in kind of pursuing this for the long run
Yeah.
because the NA scene is kind of not worsened, but there are a lot like the EG thing. There's a lot less rosters that you could join,
Right.
and they're all kind of like not monopolied per se, but like stuck under the best rosters are stuck under that org. So you can say,
Yeah.
and the other rosters like wouldn't pick me up because either the roles don't fit or like people just don't like my personality and like don't think that I've definitely changed, but it's like it's not still like perfect.
Yeah.
It'll never be perfect. It will be perfect eventually, hopefully, but not like but within the next like 6 months to a year, it won't be like perfect, perfect. I'll always try to be.
Mhm.
I've had some like ups and downs, but it'll never be in like Wiz-esque.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna go through like full meditation to
Mhm.
to get there. I mean, I've seen him at LAN, and it's wild. He just
Yeah.
wins a like insane clutch. You'll see him on the player cams. Nothing.
It's going.
Not
His face is just straight
a yeah,
poker face.
yeah,
Like I remember we were at the EG like boot camp and he had like an insane like 1v3 or 1v4. And I'm like, oh, I was sitting right next to him the entire time. I like, never like get like I never like fully scream.
yeah.
I would say nice, but then I like he won the clutch. I like screamed that I got up next to him like, dude, I like said nice fucking job. You're insane. And he just like, thanks.
Yeah,
I can't make a straight face. That's
I
how
know, it's
funny it
so
is.
funny. Oh, I love that. That's those are the players that you need. They're the rocks for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's again. So this was an opportunity kind of out of the blue. I know that you all did something with like stamina for a very short period of time. Was
Yeah.
that actually going to be planning on like a long term project or anything like that?
Yeah, it was. It was. I actually planned to be a long-term project. Yeah,
Hmm.
but then he got an offer from Strife, and like other stuff was happening when we were playing. Like we lost EG,
Yeah,
and like we were still gonna play. Like I feel like me
it's a
and that
good result even if
it
you
was good. It
lost.
was good result. Even if we shouldn't have lost,
Yeah,
100%.
I was
But
watching that game.
we were gonna stay together. I feel like that was a really good opportunity for me
Hmm.
to play under someone like him because I was getting like set up kind of.
Yeah,
I didn't have to do what I'm doing right now, and I can just solely focus on myself. And I feel like that was a really good opportunity, and I genuinely love to play with him again. If somehow on Strafe like someone leaves or they cut someone, and if they ask me to join, I genuinely will think about it because
yeah.
like with my time playing under him, I kind of loved how he called and
Was
thought
that
about
your
the
first
game.
time
And
playing underneath him as an IGL? I know you maybe played a LAN with him, like a frag or something, but
I played with him like I played with him like 3 years ago, like maybe 3.5 years
was
ago.
that
But
on
that
like
was
Supernova?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It was me, Danny, 6i, Stamina,
God,
Wolfie, the one that's still
and
in NA,
yeah, you're right.
and then Eris
That's a nuts
for like
team.
I mean at the time was kind of
Yeah.
eh.
Yeah, right. But now it is. Now it's like you look
Yeah,
at
I
that
feel
and
like
right.
but and then we were both like a lot worse with our like attitude, so it
Right.
kind of didn't mesh well.
Yeah.
But
So
with
that
my
was the
time
only
that I put with
time.
yeah, that was the only other time. But with the
Okay.
time that I put with him recently, it was like I didn't have any complaints with him. Obviously, like I mean, maybe he like sometimes got a little upset, but it was kind of warranted,
Yeah.
but not warranted the way he did it. But like the same way I do it,
Right.
it's not warranted the way you do it, but it's warranted to a certain extent.
Yeah. Yeah, the execution's a little off, but the
Yeah.
point is fair,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, I mean I was going to say I felt like that team was pretty exciting. Again, I've trusted a lot in Stamina's IGLing. I've seen him. And like you said, like I know that his IGLing, I've heard stuff about him, like being very direct and stuff like that. But I think NA needs a leader like that in a certain sense, where if someone's going to correct some mistakes, if someone's going to build up players like that, you probably do
Can't
need to
put
be. You can't sugarcoat it, right? So
can't put yeah. That's what I was gonna.
yeah,
I
so
don't mind it. I love it if you
yeah,
just straight up are direct with me because it's just faster and lets me improve better.
right,
If you just don't pussyfoot around it.
yeah, exactly. So you got the RMR coming up again, like. You guys maybe not expecting to fully go there, but you made it to Monterey. So, what sort of preparation do you know a lot about? So, like some of the teams here that are making it through?
Um, I think we know like the basis of like the teams that we're gonna play, like from Brazil.
Yeah.
Like I still have to like watched their demos on the certain cool maps, but like I know how they play to a certain extent, but like not 100%. I know we have chance against some of the Brazilian teams, if not most, like except
Mhm.
like maybe Furia or something. But the rest of them, it's like if we just play our own games and if we did the same things that we did to prep versus like nouns, we have a very high chance
Yeah.
to actually make it. If we just do all of the work and don't just fuck around, we can actually do it because there's like 4 lock teams at least that are going to make it, and that fifth spot is up for grabs to literally anyone.
Yeah. Um. So like in your opinion, who would you say is like a lock in for
Liquid,
this liquid,
liquid,
right?
liquid, Furia, complexity, and then like MRBR. I feel like because I feel like MRBR is in a better way than Pain at the
Mm-hmm.
current moment. Because Pain is, I don't know, they're in a weird set. They lost their IGL, and I don't even know who's IGLing from them right now.
Is it Nekas? Did he just?
I think it is, it is, but I don't 100% know
Yeah.
because I just still think they're in a weird situation to compared to like MRBR.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the 4 teams that are like, in my opinion, set.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for you all. Coming into this one, is it good to have like that history with like you played with Jitter, I think before on Secret Club, if I'm not mistaken. You played with Rec and that Secret Club roster. Is it good to have that experience? Was that a big part of like your all success, just knowing how each other play?
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, obviously we've changed our gameplays a bit. We all know what we can do because we've all played against each other a lot, like within the past like couple of years. So we all know what each other can do, but we also know each other's like faults and downfalls. Not downfalls, but like
Yeah.
stuff that we're not good at. So it kind of makes it easier to a certain extent to play with and know how each person plays and what they like to do.
Yeah, and you got this like Ace North American the Blast qualifiers coming up. I think
Hmm.
tomorrow you'll actually get a chance to take on some of the teams that made it through the RMR in that. So what are you setting up for this event as well? Is that like kind of going to be prep work coming through? Getting some practice in because again, I feel like this spot's very much so open for grabs as well.
Yeah. It's open. It's up for grabs, just like the blast, not the blast, the I am Dallas qual.
Yeah.
That was up for grabs, literally anyone. And it's like yeah, it's just the same thing we did for RMR, just kind of decent amount of prep work for the teams we're gonna play. Like usually I like to do the prep work
Yeah.
for the teams that we play, but if other people want to do something, like I don't care.
Yeah.
Like usually I just like doing it myself and then sharing the information that I gathered to each each person or player, depending on who we'll be playing against and how. Like, I think the first game we play versus Detonate, and I've already done some of the prep work, and it's tomorrow, the game we play. It's like
Yeah.
4, I think 5 actually.
Yeah. I mean,
So
you've played with a lot of these, like nouns in particular. You played with a lot of those guys. You think like playing on the same team with them has helped out a lot too, and
to play
like
against them,
yeah, to play against them. Yeah,
kinda, yeah, because I know like I know that like Carson will just no respect you to a
yeah,
certain extent, but on the other times if he's losing, he'll just kind of get in his own head.
hmm
Like I'm pretty sure if I'm playing him and he does bad, or like no matter what, it's in his head
yeah,
always. He's always in his head if he's like typing to someone
hmm
or not, because that's like it's a good part if you're winning, and then if you're losing, it's like you
yeah,
just look like a schmuck.
yeah, right. Good
But
stuff.
it has helped a little bit,
Yeah,
like playing with Carson and Sneaky for a little bit to kind of know how
hmm
what they like to do. But obviously it's changed.
yeah. My last question for you, man. You make it through the RMR. You did have to make stickers, right?
Yeah.
So what's the team? Is it still going by your? Is there any changes, or have you announced it yet?
No, it's
Or
still
can
going
you
by
announce
year.
it? Okay.
No, because we had to submit the things like a week ago,
Yeah.
and there's like no way we could get on work and like I mean obviously we had messages and I like said
Yeah.
talk to them, but it didn't end up like working out because
Yeah.
it was only like a week, a little more than a week to talk to these orgs, and then when we had to set in our own stickers, the team stickers, it ended with us not signing with anyone because kind of hard
Yeah.
to do
Uh.
what we want and what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, understandable, right? That's that's not a lot of time. Um.
Yeah, none.
What's your logo looking like? Do you have a logo set?
Yeah, it's like it's the most basic shit
Okay,
ever.
I'm excited to see
It looks nice though. It does
Yeah,
look nice.
if there's ever year stickers in the game,
Dude,
that
that was
I'll
like
make
kind
sure to
of
stock
a.
up on them.
I know it was like we were like I forget who, I think it was Walker, was like, imagine you just get your dick on a gun.
Yeah, that'd be good.
and, and then like my sticker just looks, I don't know, it looks
Yeah,
basic.
right. Well, thank you so much. That's all I have for you, really, man. I really appreciate the interview again.
No
Talked
problem.
a lot, and I'm glad that this second one around it's going to actually be posted. We're gonna get it all
Yeah.
set. Anything you want to shout out before we head out here?
Uh, on my Twitter, I think it's linked below, or
Yeah.
like my ad is below. You can follow that. I stream sometimes on Twitch. It's also linked in my Twitter if you wanna watch. Maybe it's FPL sometimes,
Ooh,
um,
there you go.
but I mostly don't queue it because it's not really fun. But sometimes I do. You can just watch my stream if you want. Thanks for watching my interview.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. It's been another episode, and hopefully we'll have some more with some more RMR contestants very soon. But for that, we're gonna see you. Bye bye.
Peace.